You're standing in court, facing charges that could take away years of your life. The prosecutor on the other side, they have a law degree. They passed the bar, maybe even clerked for a judge. Your lawyer, they took 2 semesters of classes, shadowed another lawyer for 9 months, and then were turned loose to defend you. That's the future Arizona is considering right now, and it should alarm every single person who cares about fairness, liberty, and the Constitution. Hi, I'm Joel Chorney. I'm a criminal defense attorney here in Tucson, Arizona, and I've spent my entire career representing people accused of some of the most serious crimes in our system. Today, I want to talk about a proposal that could reshape criminal defense in our state. It's been marketed as innovation, but in reality, it's a dangerous shortcut. Quick disclaimer though, before we begin, this video is for general information only. It's not legal advice. If you're facing charges, you need to consult with a qualified attorney about your specific situation. All right, let's dig in. Arizona is considering a brand new track for people who want to practice criminal law. Instead of 3 years of law school, bar prep, and a grueling exam, the state would allow 2 semesters of criminal law classes, 9 months of supervised practice, and a specialized licensing exam. And then you're a criminal lawyer. You could defend people accused of felonies, you could prosecute people and ask for prison time. Now, there are limits. These fast track lawyers wouldn't be allowed to handle civil cases like lawsuits, contracts, or personal injury claims. But in criminal cases, when someone's freedom, livelihood, or even family relationships are on the line, then that's fair game. Now, think about that. We're saying that money disputes require the full 3-year JD and bar exam. But liberty, the thing that the Constitution protects above almost everything else, that can be defended by someone with a year of training. The 3-year JD model didn't just appear for fun. It was built because the law is complex. Lawyers don't just memorize statutes. We learn constitutional law, civil procedure, evidence, ethics, appellate practice, and more. It's like building a house. You don't just learn how to paint walls and then call yourself a builder. You need the foundation, the wiring, the plumbing, the whole structure. Criminal defense is the same. Other professions get this. You wouldn't trust a doctor with 1 year of training to perform surgery. You wouldn't get on a plane if you knew the pilot had 9 months of supervised practice. But somehow, Arizona is floating the idea that 1 year is good enough to defend your freedom. Now, let's talk about the Constitution. The Sixth Amendment guarantees your right to effective assistance of counsel. And effective doesn't just mean having a warm body with a license sitting next to you. In Strickland v. Washington, the Supreme Court said that defendants can challenge their convictions if their lawyer's performance was so deficient that it undermined the outcome. That standard is already hard to meet. But imagine what happens if Arizona fills courtrooms with people who've barely scratched the surface of the law. We'll see a flood of appeals. My lawyer didn't know how to challenge the search, or my lawyer didn't object when the state introduced improper evidence, or my lawyer didn't understand the sentencing ranges. Those appeals take years, and in the meantime, people sit in prison, serving sentences that might never have been imposed if they had had competent representation from the start. Now, I've seen this up close. I've had cases where one procedural misstep could have cost my client decades of their life. A late objection, a missed filing, a misunderstanding of jury instructions. These are not small details. I once had a case where the entire outcome hinged on whether a piece of hearsay came in. If I hadn't caught it, my client would have faced years in prison. That's the kind of judgment that doesn't come from just 9 months of shadowing someone. It comes from years of training, practice, and experience in the trenches. Do we really want people with a year of schooling carrying that weight? And let's be honest about who will feel the brunt of this. Wealthier defendants will still hire experienced lawyers. They'll still get the benefit of full representation. It's the poor who will be saddled with these fast track attorneys. The single mom working 2 jobs, the immigrant who doesn't speak English fluently, the person struggling with addiction or mental health issues. This proposal creates a two-tiered system. If you can pay, you get a real lawyer. But if you can't, you get the budget version. That's not justice. That's discrimination dressed up as reform. And for Spanish-speaking defendants, the community that I often serve, this is even more troubling. Communication is already a barrier in many cases. Add in lawyers who barely understand procedure, and you're asking for disaster. This doesn't just hurt defendants. Imagine being prosecuted by someone who doesn't know what they're doing, evidence getting mishandled, trials botched, appeals granted. That's not justice either. That's chaos. Both sides of the courtroom deserve competent, trained professionals. And let's not forget what this does to the profession itself. Criminal defense is already undervalued compared to flashy civil litigation. This proposal sends a clear message. Criminal defense is where we cut corners. Criminal defense is where we train rookies. That's insulting to the people who dedicate their lives to this work, and it risks driving good lawyers out of the field altogether. Now, I understand the problem Arizona is trying to resolve. There is a shortage of lawyers, especially in rural areas, but lowering the bar isn't the answer. Here are some real solutions. How about some loan forgiveness for graduates who commit to serving in rural or underserved areas, or fellowship programs that place new lawyers in rural counties? with strong supervision from seasoned attorneys, or higher pay and resources for public defenders and prosecutors so that these jobs are sustainable. Remote representation infrastructure would also help. That way, qualified lawyers can appear in rural counties without hours of travel. These approaches expand access without sacrificing quality. So let me be clear. I oppose this proposal. It undermines constitutional rights. It creates a two-tiered system that punishes the poor. It devalues the profession of criminal defense, and it risks turning Arizona's courtrooms into training grounds with real people's lives as the test cases. If we want to innovate, let's innovate in ways that strengthen the representation, not weaken it. This issue isn't just about lawyers. It's about anyone who could ever face charges. And believe me, that can happen to anyone. With your freedom on the line, you deserve more than a shortcut. You deserve a real defense. I'm Joel Chorney. Your rights matter. Protect them. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.